Hi, I'm Christian. This is Theo. Welcome to Business Wine and Cheese.
Today we've got Tom Woods from Woods&Co, a good friend of ours. They are a recruitment company and we are going to talk about all things coming through employment and transitioning into your own business. So stick around and let us know how we go. Hey everybody, welcome to Business Wine and Cheese, hosted by Out in the Clouds. I'm Theo Kenelopoulos.
I'm Christian Ravenel.
And today we have Tom Woods from Woods&Co, a very good long-time friend of ours and growing a very successful business. Welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming along. We've got Radio Boca today, a lovely Tempranillo from Spain, $16.
Lovely this one.
Really, really nice one. Should have gotten more.
Yeah, we should have.
But in the
We can
interest
get
of
more?
true. In the interest of the show, so we're coherent by the end of it, I think it's just sensible that we just stick to one.
Stick to one.
So before we get started, mate, what happened last night in the footy?
Yeah, well, I thought we were going to talk about what happened at billboards. But yeah, no rants, no Richmond, I suppose. That's the saying going around.
Okay.
It's been no good. Who's calling you?
So
You're
the
not
wheels
calling
are
me?
off.
The wheels are off, mate.
Okay.
That's it. I've actually just...
It's on record
I've
now.
I've just signed up for a Geelong membership.
I was going to say, where do you jump in
Yeah,
ship?
straight in.
Mate,
Straight in.
You're going to have some visitors at your door tomorrow.
Oh no.
So
What,
yeah,
Richmond players looking for jobs.
yeah, most Jesus Christ.
That's pretty
good. I knew there was a reason we had you on the show. So mate,
Sorry guys, I can't help.
looking forward myself. So back on track.
Yeah.
We always like to start with origin story personally. We've known each other for more than a decade back in the music industry, but tell us a little bit about mum and dad, where you grew up, all the rest of it.
Yeah, sure. So, mum and dad came from the burbs in Melbourne. I suppose a pretty romantic story. Born on the same day, married 30 plus years, I think. Got 3 sisters, so as you can tell, legs are crossed. I'm in touch with my feminine side.
Very good.
Grew up in Hawthorn, moved around. I think I've lived in 17 odd homes throughout my journey. Dad's a property developer, so a lot of moving, a lot of living in garages, a lot of cheese out of the fridge and those sorts of things. So yeah, pretty interesting upbringing, pretty friendly, I guess we're a pretty close-knit family, close with cousins and so forth. Went to Xavier College and I wasn't overly academic. I probably sport was a big part of my life, but I wasn't a footy player. I was more of the athletic type, as you can tell.
Absolutely.
Perfect. I'm going to sip. So left school and didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And time sort of went on, and I was doing a lot of things in, I guess, the promotion game, and that's where I came across a couple of you guys, and enjoying my time promoting nightclubs and different venues, and eventually moving into management and a few retail jobs in between, and travel, and really just, I guess, trying to figure out where life was going to take me, and living paycheck to paycheck and spending it and having a good time, and
We've all done that.
yeah, multiple girlfriends and
same
gone back. They've taken me back.
Very good.
So that was sort of my early stage journey, and I managed a club for a long time, and the girl I was with then, who I'm with now, came to me and said, why don't we look at opening a beauty salon? So went away and did that, and that's been open for 5 years, and we're just relocating now. So we're looking for sort of a new site somewhere in Brunswick. We've been in Hawthorn for 5 years. At the standard small business stresses that you have. Rent was too high, and you've got to do a lot of waxing, a lot of spray tans to pay those bills. So yeah, we did that, and during that time, it would have been great to have been in there doing the spray tans, but that's not really, I guess, ethical, or my eyes maybe. So we moved from there into recruitment, and I picked up a job through a friend of mine. Lockie Talbot put me in touch with Stephanie Freeman at Smart Recruitment, and she said, I've got a 1 month temp role at iSelect, and it'll pay you $1,000 a week. And I never really worked in hourly rates or,
Sure.
or anything, because it had always been sort of, promotion based and based on numbers and all of that kind of thing. So I thought, oh, that sounds all right, do that for a month. So that fell through, and Smart came back to me and said, well, you obviously got a knack for sales. Why don't you come in and do some sales for us? And they don't know this, but they'll find out now. In the interview, I remember sitting there and I had my feet hard against the floor because the shoes I was wearing, the suit shoes I was wearing, had no sole. One of them didn't have a sole on the bottom, and I
was not surprising at all.
And I had a good pair of TNs though. I had some black masking tape that was basically hard up against my foot, holding the bottom of my foot to my shoe. So I remember sitting there, and as I sort of walked out, it was like I had a limp shuffling my foot along the
So I
bottom.
felt sorry for you.
Yeah, that's right. So I got the job.
They probably do know that, by the way.
Yeah,
They're probably taking the shit piss out of you the whole time.
So yeah, I took on a job there in sales, and I think that's where we sort of started to connect a little bit more. I was playing around in the education sector, and we were having a good time sort of learning about upskilling individuals and utilising those people through the Smart network to get them placed into employment, and it was cool. It was really, really, really rewarding, and there was a few changes that happened in that industry, and I think you guys know a little bit about that, and it sort of led me down the path of, okay, well, to stick around here. I've been here for 6 months now, and take something on more permanent, and they offered me the opportunity to come in as a recruitment resourcer. So that was awesome. I took on the role as a recruitment resourcer, which was a heap of fun, and they didn't make me permanent for I think almost 2 years because I didn't show up some Fridays.
I was going to say, they didn't trust you.
I was late some days, and finding my feet in the corporate world, and they gave me an awesome opportunity to do that. And there's a few guys there, Martin Rosenberg, Stuart Holmes, Will McPhee, that said, keep giving him chances, and the results were there, but obviously there was just that corporate piece that I needed to nail down.
How do you think the nomad type, I guess, you were at Room for a long time, but still sort of that mentality where, similarly to us, when you're coming up, and essentially we've been entrepreneurs the whole time, right? I've only had one corporate job in my life, similar to you. How do you think that helped you when you went into there? I know that it was hard adapting to structure and all the rest of it, but the skills that I sort of picked up dealing with, all walks of life, it helped me in the corporate space.
Yeah, I think nothing. I don't think things don't faze you as much as those that have come up through the ranks very regimented. I think having dealt with some very interesting people through my nightclub time, from the motorbike riding individuals through to some serious security guards, and just generally the unpleasant individual that's had too many drinks, and your resilience builds, and you just know how to talk to people and deal with people on a different level, and I think that was great. But you really I had to put my head down and wrap it around the corporate culture.
So how did, during your time at Smart, how did the business idea come around for, might not have the name by then, but obviously we were chatting every now and then, and you obviously wanted to take on more responsibility, and being entrepreneurial like we are, you can never really hold us down for too long, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I think if I told the true story, people would look at me in a pretty funny light. But let's just say there was a couple of occasions where I became that nuisance and had a couple of too many drinks at a couple of events, and spoke my, I suppose, entrepreneurial mind, and said, this is how I think we should do things, and you're doing it wrong. When that's the wrong way to go about it. And I realised that, but it probably was a underlying feeling that I needed to go and do something. So I then sat down with Marty and I said, mate, this is where I'm at. I said, there's opportunity for this or that, and I don't want to go back into hospitality. I don't know what I want to do. We sat down every couple of weeks and we spoke about the different options in terms of, you know, sales management and so forth. And I really thought to myself, and I spoke with yourself, I spoke with a few other people and my parents, and, you know, in my mind it was great to be, you know, national sales manager or take on some sort of sales title. But I thought, if I'm going to go out there and win business, why don't I just win business for myself? And that was where the decision was made. And it was the hardest conversation I've ever had with someone was when I sat down with Marty. He just come back from holidays day one, and I said, hey, I'm leaving. And
I remember when you were planning to talk to him the week before, and you're like, I don't want to do this.
It was, if you're watching Marty, mate, it still hurts. It was a tough conversation, but you know, I'd been there, I'd done my time, you know, 3.5 years to 4 years, you know. I don't regret anything there. I think, you know,
it's probably testament to the way that Marty treated you and the way that I hear that he treats a lot of his staff. The openness of the conversation and
amazing.
The culture that's there. You know, I was at an event last night. That they put on, and you know, you can tell that everyone's genuinely happy to work there. You know, and a couple of people that used to work with me at Acquire are working there, and they love it. Absolutely love it. So I think, you know, managing that conversation when you're looking to progress, only the wrong type of employer would make you feel bad about that, and also would make you feel like you can't talk to them about it. You know what I mean? As hard as it was, you weren't worried that he was going to bite your head off.
No,
it was more not you're letting him down, but it's like you're breaking up with your girlfriend.
Yeah, it really was.
Done, but
I've done that a few times.
But you usually receive it. You usually receive it though.
I get home and everything's moved out from the house. Oh, actually, I had one where have I ever told you this story?
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
I got home and I went to go home and the locks were changed. So.
And you realise you're actually trying to get into next door.
Was it Marty's house?
So I digress. The transition piece, obviously it wasn't, you know, you didn't have heaps of time to think about, well, you might have, but, you know, how did you plan? I know that you had a bit of financial backing, a little bit, which it's never easy, but it certainly makes it a little bit easier when you're planning an all-in approach. So how did you go about sort of mitigating risk? I know that you're never scared to roll your sleeves up and get to work yourself, which you did, obviously. You have to when you're starting off. So how was that transition? How did you sort of go about that?
So I think the decision in my head was made probably October 2017, and
so a couple of months before you
couple of
made
months,
the decision.
and I resigned at the very start of 2018, and I allowed myself a month, and I sat down February 5th, 2018, and with a laptop and in a shared space which we're still in, and we've taken over some more area in there,
annoying the shit out of all the
annoying
tenants.
the crap out of everybody. We share an office space with the Co, the accounting firm in there, and they're wonderful people, but I think, you know, 12 recruiters running around, screaming, swinging baseball bats in the air every time someone hits a home run or you know, generally makes it into work on time. Usually me. You know, we sat down there and sat down by myself, and that transition period was strange. I had originally approached a couple of guys and said, you know, this is my plan, and you know, for whatever reasons, one of the guys is one of my best mates and owns billboards. So, Luke, if you're watching, g'day. And he's one of our long-term clients now as well. He decided that he was making some transitions in his life. So, I sat down with my other partner, which is Caleb Lynch, and Caleb and I sat down and had a conversation. And Caleb said, "Look, between the two of us, we can do this." And I said, "I'd really like a third. I'm one of those guys that wears my heart in my sleeve. I like to talk a lot. I vent everything. There's no secret. I don't hide anything. You know." And Caleb brought on one of his business partners through another venture of his, Tas Sakaris, and Tass has been an amazing addition to our team. He's come in on a percentage of the organisation, and he handles all of our back end systems, operations. Just a great year, great support. And,
Sure.
Caleb sort of consults into the business. So
Sounds like he's rounded out the team.
yeah, and we put that together, and the three of us, like any relationship, like a new partnership, you have your honeymoon phase. It's all roses. It's great.
Yep.
We went through those first couple of months going, this is awesome, high fives, and then the work starts, and then then you start to tweak different things, and everyone has their different areas that they need to improve on.
Yeah, and obviously in that space, you don't sit down and write a business plan because it changes every day.
Yeah.
Was there a growth plan? Did you sort of say, let's just get as many customers on as we can and sort of work it out? How'd you go about it?
Yeah, so fairly loyal to my non-compete clause coming out of Smart, and we knew that we would have restrictions, and we knew there would be things that we could and couldn't do, and we asked questions, and I still talk to Marty now. I spoke to him today about an issue that we've got going on, and he's a great sounding board, and I still hang out with a lot of the guys from Smart, outside of work. So really respected that, and it was a matter of let's set our pillars up. Sales, administration, customer service is what I know, which is now sort of sprawled out into financial services, which has been awesome for us because, it's a great space, it's interesting. I mean, numbers weren't my forte at school, but, I guess the people that handle the numbers is something that we understand. So that came about, and then construction, and that sort of came through our networks, etc. But yeah, it was one of those things where, it was back to day one. It was back to when I was 20 and I got given 100 hard copy tickets, and I had to try and sell them for an event. It was pick up the phone, use your networks, leverage, your different industry or people that from different industries, and that's how we started. And a lot of networking events, and I go to a lot with you guys still, and just being personal, front of mind, I guess is the key, and was the key in the beginning.
Yeah, and obviously being authentic as well is pretty important.
Yeah.
I remember one thing that I don't know who we were talking about. We were talking about something, and something you said stuck with me. Something about you don't want to know anyone that takes themselves too seriously, or something like that. Yeah. Obviously, it didn't stick with me that much. I can't remember what you said. Yeah. But the messaging, it must have been extremely drunk. But the point was, not taking yourself too seriously, and just being yourself, and not being a stiff and trying to be someone just to impress people in the room.
Is that something that you think actually sort of makes you stand out?
Yeah.
The way your
apart from the fact you take your shirt off every week.
Yeah. Your business culture.
It's going to have a more. I'm off the bar in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I think, we've been doing a lot of personal branding pieces, and after 12 months, we sat down this morning with our staff, and we worked on our company values. We wanted to do that in the beginning, but I thought, how do you put your company values on paper when you're a brand new company? So now we've got a small team, and we put our company values together, and that, I suppose, is a reflection of me, but I think it's a reflection of the organisation. My piece around, I guess who I am as an individual, as I said, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm not your straightforward professional that will walk into an organisation and expect to bow down, or to say what they want to hear, or even to dress appropriately, or I guess to not go out on the weekend and enjoy myself. I'm a firm believer in I work so that I can live a great life, versus I live to work, and that's probably a motto I sort of stick with. And I don't take myself seriously. Like, I'm the first to point the finger at myself and make jokes about myself. We instill that culture, and I think that's what's helped us along the last 12 months. A lot of our clients have these amazing cultures, and like, I get excited. I get there and I go, oh, they've got a piano on there, trying to play on it. They've got PlayStation, and I'm mid-meeting, playing GTA or table tennis or whatever it may be.
I think it's so important. Like, it's just being self-aware, not taking anyone too seriously. Not like, it's not a disrespect thing, but it's more, what you want to do. You know who you are, and it's like as long as you're doing the right things, and it's if someone takes offence to something, it's
I think you gotta have fun.
Correct.
You gotta have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Because if you make things fun, I don't know. For me myself, I like to have fun when I'm working because I work hard and I work longer.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the product
doesn't feel like working that way.
No, it doesn't feel like you're working, and that's what you want. That's what you want your life to be. You know.
Yeah.
So this year, growth year. I mean, you grew loads last year, but I mean, was that a target that you had? I remember you did say something about a target that you had. You surpassed that, obviously.
Yeah, we wanted a team of 10, so including the 3 directors. We wanted a team of 10 walking into 2019. Right. We got up to 13. We're at 12 at the moment. And we've put some targets in place where we'd love to get to 25 at the end of this year. I don't know how realistic that is. Yeah. I'm very conscious.
You need some help recruiting?
Yeah, you know any good recruiters come here. I think for us it's about playing safe, although, we talk about I do like to take risks and have a gamble and what have you.
It's got to be calculated.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's
very calculated.
There's too many lives at risk in terms of, we've got the staff now that we need to look after, and for us to go out there and put 10 staff on and take a gamble and for the whole
it's not smart business.
No. It's not fair on anyone. So I think we're going to Bali for a couple of weeks at the end of next week, and we're going to really assess what 2019 is going to bring to the table. But at the moment, a few more staff, new office at the end of the year. We did a renovation started this year, which was pretty cool. So,
so you guys are going to stay, or are you going to move?
We'll probably move, I think, and we'll move with Pete from the Co, just because we work so great together. And it's like you said before, like working with your mates and working with your friends and being able to walk into someone's office and
positive environment,
help yourself to their cologne and then pull breath mints and take their ideas and put them up on your own wall. It's awesome and
it's the last time we're invited.
I like the new office too.
So I know where he keeps his money.
So I'm pretty excited for this year, to be honest. I think we've got a lot of new clients. We've got a lot of existing clients that are growing, and one of our key areas is trying to get in with businesses that are like-minded, that want to grow,
like us,
like you guys. It's the reason I'm sitting here today is because the way you guys look at business and the way you're doing business and having been through a lot more than what I have is amazing. And I like to it's that old saying, I don't know who said it, but you never want to be the smartest person in the room, and that's
I've heard that saying before as well.
I mean, we're looking at the guys that we've got on. We want them to be pretty much completely autonomous by the owning their territory and essentially telling us how they should do particular things within our framework, obviously.
And a testament to you guys. I mean, Omar, the cameraman, he's got some great skills, in terms of the work he does, the way he goes about it. He doesn't need to pass anything through you guys. Conversation can be had with him. Gets the job done.
His camera breaks sometimes.
That's it.
It's all good. Managing the growth, what's going, so you spoke about your growth plans this year, but the point around scaling responsibly, I guess, obviously there needs to be demand for that. So how are you thinking through that process? Do you sort of have amount of cash flow months, or what's the sort of metric that sort of says, right, let's go again? Yeah,
so I listened to a couple of different podcasts and been to see a couple of different people speak, and specific to the recruitment industry, because every game is different. But we sort of work around the fact that we set ourselves a buffer in our accounts and say that's our
can't ever go below it.
Safety money. I then look at our month billings, although we have quarterly targets. I look at it month to month and say, okay, cool, so what we did last month, that's what our profit will be. I then look at our cash flow and say, well, realistically, when's this money going to come in?
Cool.
I then analyse the back end of that and go, okay, cool, so what's our prospective workload? And then I then look at that against
resource planning, essentially.
Resource planning. What our close rate is like, what are we closing? And then from that, I use that sort of figure to say, okay, cool, well, I suppose the next person we bring on is going to cost X amount of dollars on an annual basis. So we need to have that build next month, and then we can go again.
Yeah. Vertical wise, happy with the 5 that you're in?
Yeah,
Five?
yeah. So, well, customer service, sales, and administration, we sort of call one, but I suppose they're 3 separate areas, and then construction and finance. The plan is to go into IT. I think that's the way of the future. That's what Seek says. That's what the market is saying, and that's where the growth area is. I don't believe that everything's going to become automated. I think there's still a lot of use for, the human resource.
Well, I think it's going to be more about emotional intelligence, and it'll be like all the real estate agents that were in crypto before real estate that have now left real estate because that's gotten worse.
Correct.
It's sort of when it's time to squeeze, the best of the bunch stay. So I agree with you. I think there's going to be a lot of things that can be automated. But the person-to-person type stuff, a lot of the sales-driven stuff, and the stuff that requires empathy.
Yeah,
and
the empathy I think is the strongest. Yeah. Sort of.
You can't turn that into a robot.
Exactly, you can't. You know.
Well, some people will disagree with us, but I can't say that.
Yeah. I think America's a couple of years ahead of us. We sit down with financial planners a lot, and there's obviously that robo-advice that's happening over there. And, obviously it's an interesting space at the moment with the Royal Commission and things like that are going on. But I really think that this is going to happen every year. This is how I look at it. Things are going to happen every year. Things are going to change every year.
Well, happens every day.
Well, that's it. Don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm just excited. Generally excited.
Lots of opportunity.
Yeah, I'm going to work every day and I'm pumped up. And
that's the main thing. Like I just live up the road, and walking down here every single day with a smile on my face. I'm here sometimes 7:30 in the morning. Sometimes
you like to
earlier.
smile about it too.
Yeah. Told me twice before.
But it's just fun. You know what I mean?
Correct.
It's just that's how you want to get up and go to work.
100%. And it's
There's no other way.
What it's about. If my staff aren't smiling, and I'm not the greatest of bosses at time, and I don't think anybody is, and anybody that sits there and says what they do is easy and life's great, and maybe if you're Elon Musk or something, and you're worth billions of dollars.
He's one of the most stressed out people in the world.
Yeah,
from what I can see.
Exactly.
He also doesn't give a fuck though.
Eating my food everywhere. Yeah. He also thinks that the aliens are invading the world. So, I think as long as our staff are happy and smiling, I'm happy and smiling, and they really ride the wave with us, and they ride it harder than I do. Like some of the girls, some of the guys in our office, they have a down week. And we get around each other, and I think it's super.
How do you deal with that?
We
goes home.
Start coming for a couple of days. That's a good question. We do a lot of, I guess, extracurricular activities as a team. We had 2 Christmas parties. We did a health and wellness day. We've recently had our first birthday. We go out for team lunches. We celebrate each birthday. We celebrate their milestones at work. We offer incentives. And when people are down, though, it's hard. And I, as I said, I wear my heart on my sleeve. When I'm down, everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
And it's not in a negative way, but it is. You can feel it, and I always think to myself, Tom, you've got to remember that the fish rots at the head. So pull yourself together and get back into motivating your team, and that's what I do for myself and with the team. I don't let them buy into the lows too much, and don't buy into the highs too much, and just try and keep it happy medium. Yeah, that's really important.
Bit of a gear change, obviously. What we do in our business, and a lot of this content that we're creating is around being a Salesforce partner and relative to technology. We're going to get you on Salesforce eventually. But how are you using technology in your business to help you day to day?
Yeah, so we've got a few different pieces of technology we use. I had to get myself across, your accounting packages like Xero, business software, things that I've never used before. Tass is great at this. He's got mail.
Maybe that should be our Batters box.
A Batters box?
Yeah.
The technology they use?
They use.
Yeah, okay.
That could be one of the things we can start asking.
Yeah.
This was so much fun.
Awesome.
I
Loved it.
I would. So it's you know, in a few months we'd like to go again and see how you've progressed, and
That'd
by
be
then
awesome.
you'll be using Salesforce, so it'll be much better conversation. But yeah, no, we're not selling anything.
Yeah, but you're going to get it.
But look,
Either way, when you're drunk, we're going to sell it to you.
161.
I said I know where the money is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, perfect.
Cheers, brother.
It's not in my pocket.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having
Cheers.
me.
Cheers.
Ciao.